Okay, so we're going to talk about how to create and read dot plots, or sometimes they're called line plots. I'll tell you the difference between the two, but honestly it doesn't matter which one you do when you're given the problem. So we'll start with dot plots, is a plot of each data value on a scale or number lines. If you hear the word dot plot, technically you're supposed to use dots. When you hear line plot, we'll use something else, but again, they really are interchangeable. So here's an example of what a dot plot would look like. You can see I have a number line or a scale, and I have lots of dots plotted. So the example says, the students in one social studies class were asked how many brothers and sisters, siblings, they each have. The dot plot here shows the results. So it's telling you that, like for example, down here are the number of siblings. There are people in the class that have no siblings at all. Some have one sibling, some have two, some have three, some have four, and someone's got 6 siblings, a lot of brothers and sisters. And the number of dots tell me how many of those students have that number of siblings. So we'll start with the first question. How many students have 6 siblings? So I go to 6. I only see 1 dot, so there's only 1 student that has 6 siblings. B, how many students have no siblings? Well, if I have no siblings, then I have 0 siblings. I go to 0, and I see there are 1, 2, 3 dots. That's how many have none. Last question here. How many of the students have 3 or more siblings? All right, 3 siblings is here. Or more, well, more than 3 would be 4, 5, and 6. I need to count up all the dots for all of those. So we'll start with 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's just a little introduction to what they look like. You'll see dots, they represent values, you can read the graph. Now you're going to make your own. So this example is the heights of 20 basketball players in inches are given below. Again, make a dot plot for the number line below. So I've given you a scale. Sometimes you have to put the number in yourself. Okay, make your own scale, but they're already here for you right now. So I just go in order, making dots and crossing them off as I go so I don't lose my spot. So 68. So I go to where 68 is the number line and I make a dot. Then I'm going to cross that off and keep going. 70, make a dot, cross it off. I have another 70, so I'm going to stack it above the last 70. Cross it off. 71. Cross it off. 75. Cross it off. 80. And we just keep going like this. The only thing I want you to be careful of when you're doing this is making sure everything's about the same height. What I mean by that is all the first dots should be kind of in a nice little row. Okay. The second dot should be in a nice row. The third dots, kind of want to keep them evenly spaced out. So there's all my dots plotted. And then the last thing you have to do to get full credit is to give it a title. These were the heights of basketball players, so I'll write it above here. Heights of basketball players. And that's how you make a dot plot. It's that simple. So now I'll show you a line plot, which again, they really are the same thing. They're just denoted a little bit different. So a line plot is the same thing, but instead of using dots, we use X's. So you can see in this example, they're just X's marked. That's just personal preference. It doesn't matter which one you do. The resting pulse rates were recorded for 16 boys in gym class before they exercised. The line plot here shows the results. So we're going to answer some questions about that first, then we'll make our own. How many boys had a pulse rate of 82? So I find 82, and I see under 82 there are 3 X's. So there were 3 boys that had that heart rate. How many boys had a pulse less than 81? If I'm less than 81, I've got to be 79 or 80. I cannot be equal to 81. So I'm just counting these 2. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Part C, how many boys had a pulse greater than or equal to 83? See how it says or equal to 83? So now we are counting the 83, and we want to be greater than it, so we're also counting 84 and 85. We're counting all 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So be careful if it just says something like less than, or if it is or equal to. It will depend if you're going to count that number in or not. All right, now we'll make our own. So our new example is the ages of 22 students in a karate class are given below. Make a line plot. So because it says line plot, I'm going to use X's, but you really could use dots if you'd like. Scale is already given to you. And we're just going to cross off as we go along. So it starts with 11. I'll put an X above 11, cross it off. X with the 5, 9, and just keep going. Again, trying to keep the heights as consistent as possible. So just to reiterate those consistent heights, see all mine that have 3 X's on them, like 8, 9, and 12? See how they are all about the same height? The one with 4 should be a little bit higher. The ones with 2 should be lower. Do you see what I mean? So try to keep your X's in nice rows. So we're almost done. Just don't forget a title. So it told us they were ages of students in a karate class. Ages in and that's it. So you have another worksheet to try on your own. You're going to make your own dot plot, answer questions, then make your own line plot and answer the questions, and your teacher has the answer key for you to check your answers over when you're done.